Welcome on in to the 411 podcast. What's going on? If you're out there, please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend. If you are coming across this replay, whenever you come across it, again, please like, comment, subscribe, share, tag a friend. Do whatever you can do to help support. Thank you so much out there on TikTok. I appreciate you. Shells, if you can let me know where you are calling from. Basically, for those of you who are joining for the first time, whenever I say where you calling from, it's basically where you're representing. So if you're out there and you hear this and I say where you calling from, please let me know where you are representing. Thank you so much. So now, before I get started, I want to go ahead and give a very special thank you to my executive producer, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for allowing me to come out here and give you the 411 podcast one more time in life. Without him, none of this will be possible. And without the love and support from each and every one of you from all different aspects, wherever you come from, thank you so much. Kim, I appreciate you. None of this would be possible. So thank you all so much for the love and support. So we've been down this journey before. There's been several parts. We did part one, part two. Now we're getting ready to wrap it up. So the last part of it, track three, unsolicited counsel. So it's in different phases and it comes from different people and different aspects. So we just have to give it to you like this. Track three, unsolicited counsel. That's basically when you get some advice, when someone wants to be your counselor, when someone wants to give you some advice, and you didn't even ask them for it. So when I think back of past experiences, which that's one of the best ways that we can move forward is when we can think back and reflect and learn how to, answer, learn how to respond a little bit differently. My response before in the past was not 100%. It wasn't on point. So as I reflect, I look forward and I say, okay, listen, whenever we get some unsolicited advice, whenever someone wants to show up and be a counselor, how are we going to handle it today? So today, I give you my opinion on it. You can do whatever you want to do with it. But what I would do is I would most certainly listen. Listen. You don't have to act on it, but listen. Maybe you can get something from it. And your response, how you handle it towards the end, is going to determine whether this person comes to you and give you some unsolicited advice or unsolicited counsel in the future. It's all on how you react. That's basically the sum of it all. How are you going to react to it? Are you going to have an attitude? You're going to be disrespectful? Or are you kindly going to tell them, thank you so much for that advice. Thank you so much for whatever you're giving me. Thank you so much for your opinion. But what I have going on over here works for me. And I see that it works well for you, but I'm not sure if it's going to work for me. But thank you so much for that. And you might get something out of it. It might not be everything that you got to take with it, but you might get a couple things out of it that you can use. So, what better song that I can pick than Jill Scott, Fool's Gold? So, Fool's Gold was released in 2015. I want to make sure that I got that correct. 2015 off of the Woman album. And I want to read to you a little bit about what Jill says in the lyrics here. So, you got to be very careful when you take this advice. People can lead you down a wrong path. So you got to check the facts. I always say check the source. So if you coming with me and you telling me something about, let's just say for instance, money, you want to talk to me about handling money, you want to talk to me about making moves. I want to make sure that you're showing up and you're representing the same exact, process here. What does your finances look like? What does your situation look like? I had people in the past tell me about my car. Why'd you pick this car? Why'd you pick that car? And this person didn't even have a car. So I'm not taking any advice. I'm not taking anything from somebody that, is not coming along on the same field as I am, coming along on the same plane as I am. This happens when people are in relationships. Your friends may not be in a relationship. Your friends might be single, but then they're going to turn around and give you advice on how you should be making moves in your relationship. And then if you go ahead, like Jill said, and you start chasing fool's gold and you start answering and you start doing some of the things that your single friends tell you to do, and you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, long before you're going to end up having an issue and you're going to end up being single just like them. So show me who your friends are and I'll show you who you are. So be very careful and check the facts, check the sources when people are coming to you with some unsolicited counsel. Jill Scott says, I was living a dream, believing things that just ain't true. So these people might be speaking some things, they might be saying some things that may not be true. Okay, I'll give you an example. Back in the early 90s, okay, it was late 90s, excuse me. Back in the late 90s, I was going to the recording studio and I was trying to, get into the music industry. Now, Jill Scott says I was believing things that just ain't true. I had everyone come out of the woodwork. As soon as I started putting it on CDs, putting it on cassettes at the time, everybody starts coming up and they know somebody who's a record producer. It wasn't true. And I was sitting here believing and chasing a fool's gold behind anybody that says, oh, I know somebody. Oh, I know this person in the music industry. My cousin, this person, that person. This one has an album out. And I was just sitting there chasing fool's gold, running around believing every single thing that somebody says. And they're sitting here trying to give me advice of how I should make this music. What studio should I go to? Who I should work with? That's a prime example. I can't believe that I ever believed in you. And that's the reaction. And that's the stuff that you start to say out of your mouth once you realize that it's a game, once it's a hoax, once it's not real. That's why I say check the facts. You had me chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. Song of the day, Jill Scott, Fool's Gold. 2015 off of the Woman album. We talking about unsolicited counsel. Anything happen in your life, anything happen in your world where someone starts to go ahead and try to give you some advice, and when you start to look at the situation, you start to peel back the onion, when you start to look around and say, something's not right here. This person here is giving me this information. This person is coming and trying to be my counselor. I didn't even ask for this. I didn't even ask you to come in here and start to speak and start to say whatever you have to say. But it is what it is. You're here, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go ahead and say what you're going to say. And you start to look around and you realize that it ain't true. Be very careful. Don't follow behind what somebody else has to say unless you've checked the facts and you've done some research on your own. And the person that's giving you that information, they come from some source and they come from some knowledge. Now, tonight, we have Enjoli coming in from Enjoli Soul Scents. And but before we do that, I want to go ahead and talk to you about this here. John Gray says this here. To offer a man unsolicited advice is to presume that he doesn't know what to do or is that he can't do it on his own. What's going on, Birdman? Thank you so much for coming in. So you can upset somebody when you start to come and give some people some unsolicited advice, unsolicited counsel, start to try to act like you're going to be a teacher, you're going to be a mentor to somebody and they didn't even ask you to. To offer a man unsolicited advice is to presume that he does not know what to do or that he can't do it on his own. So basically, you're already putting it out there that, listen, I don't believe that you even know what you're doing, so here, go ahead and do this. People try to tell you about what you know, they try to tell you about what you think you know better. So example, don't take that job. That's not going to work. Don't go ahead and follow your dreams on this aspect. That's not going to work. You've missed your calling. You've ever heard some of these things before? I wouldn't go down there because it didn't work for me. Well, great. Guess what? It didn't work for you, but that doesn't say that it's not going to work for me. You and I are two different people. We are two different beings. So just because it didn't work for you, maybe you didn't have the courage, maybe you didn't have the strength to go ahead and push forward, but I do. So what do I look like listening to you when you don't even have, the faith that you're going to be able to push through and move through it? That color doesn't look good. This situation isn't that. Maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe you shouldn't go there. We're talking about unsolicited counsel tonight. To offer a man unsolicited advice is to presume that he doesn't know what to do or that he can't do it on his own. And here's one thing that we can't do. We can't change people. We can't manipulate people. We can't control people. And we can't push people and move people to do things that they don't want to do for themselves. So here you are, coming along, trying to give somebody some advice. They didn't even ask you for it. And here you are trying to push, manipulate, control, and move a situation. And it just don't work that way. It's going to come. Sometimes it comes with resentment. People are going to look at you like, oh, so you think that I can't do this situation on my own? You think that I can't handle it? You think that I can't make decisions on my own? That I need you to come in and step in and try to tell me what to do? You can have some upsets when it comes to friendships and relationships. You can have people starting to look at you a little bit different. So be very careful about giving unsolicited counsel. And on the other aspect of it, if it happens to you and people are coming to you, most of the time there's a reason that they're coming to you, because there's something in you that maybe they don't see within themselves. So don't get upset. Because I used to always get upset. I used to always want to go in and show people who I am. But you don't have to do that, because just think, there's a reason why this person is coming and giving me some unsolicited advice, some unsolicited counsel. They must see something in me that they don't see in themselves. That's not all the time. Sometimes people are coming with some genuine love and compassion and wanting to see you move to the next level. But other aspects, people are always trying to, do you in too. So you got to be very careful. But listen to what they say. Don't get upset, because sometimes the truth is hidden in the message that comes to you. Most of the time, they're going to start to speak. And when they start to speak, they're going to start to tell you little things about themselves during the conversation. If you learn how to listen more than talk, people will usually sing you a lullaby. People will usually tell you a story. Be very cautious of the person who is always first to speak, always the life of the party, always running off at the mouth, always saying something, always giving advice, always telling people what to do. Listen, there might be a message hidden. Song of the day, Fool's Gold, Jill Scott, 2015, off of the Woman album. Now we have Enjoli Soul Scents coming in tonight. She's a Reiki master. She has her own business. I just, basically said the name Enjoli Soul Scents. So she has a lot of different healing, whether it's candles, so many different things she has. I can't even get into a lot of the things that she has. Go to enjolisoulscents.com and, you can get the full. She's going to come in tonight and give us, the rundown of her business and what she has going on. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and rewind it a little bit and talk to you about my reading between the wine session last night with Agnes K, all the way from the UK. So Agnes came in on joliesoulsense.com. There it is. Agnes K came through all the way from the UK, which was amazing. And the topic that we spoke about yesterday is your rejection, my protection. And it's so funny how last night I was speaking about your rejection, my protection. And today I had to listen to my own, advice. I had to listen to my own podcast and say, okay, listen, you're speaking about your rejection, my protection. So just remember that when these situations come up, your rejection, my protection. When I say good morning to somebody or say hi to somebody and then they walk right past me and they don't say anything, your rejection, my protection. Because listen, that energy, that level that you got going on right now that allows you to conduct yourself in such a manner, I have to remember that you rejecting me at this moment, I'm protecting myself, because you obviously are coming from a different situation. And if I get wrapped up and trapped up in it, then now I'm going to be, vibrating on a lower level as you. And we can't do that. So in the moment, every single time, your rejection, my protection. And I'm like, okay, I got this. So I had to actually, listen to that and listen to my own advice today when it came to interacting with people, in my environment today. So, but anyway, back on track with your rejection, my protection. Last night, Agnes K from the UK came through, and she has a book, and the book is just out of control. And I want to make sure that I got the title right. And I believe it is The Girl Away from Home, but I have to make sure so that I'm not giving y'all some misinformation. The Girl Away from Home. And what a story. Yes, a girl from home, a girl from home. So the story was amazing. This girl, she, you might have to listen to the replay and make sure you get the real coming straight from the author's mouth. Long story short, this girl gets married and she gets separated from her spouse because they live in two different countries. Two different spaces, two different countries. After 10 years pass, she decides to go ahead and pay him a surprise visit. During this surprise visit, she gets stranded. She has to do all that she has to do to get to him. Like that isn't enough. Once she gets to him, she realizes that the woman that greeted her, or vice versa, they greet each other, that the husband is married to the other woman. The same woman that greeted her in the beginning, she comes to find out or comes to know that, oh, you mean to tell me my husband has been married to you this whole time? So that was a form of rejection, of course, once that happens. And we can't find out the whole story, so you have to go ahead and go to Agnes K, and that's KAY-E, to find out the full story. So I was trying to get from it last night. How does your character react? Because when you get rejected, it's all on how you react of how it plays out. Because if you play the victim and you start asking and saying and questioning, why me? How could you do this to me? You lost the game. But if you can embrace it and say, thank you very much, thank you for this experience, thank you for this lesson, and you can move on, that's where your protection comes in. Because, like I said, after a while, a little bit down the road, couple months, couple weeks, couple years, whatever it's going to be, you're going to realize what the form of protection was. Like, damn, I'm so glad that I accepted that. I'm so glad that I moved on, because had I stayed, had I questioned, had I tried to hang on, had I tried to, make you feel guilty for, doing whatever you're doing, and you actually stayed, and I actually stayed in a situation, the form of protection is broken at that moment, and you're vulnerable to whatever's going to come the way, because the protection was the situation, the disrespect, the cheating, the loss of a job, whatever the case may be. That's your form of protection right there. It's not for us to try to figure out and try to manipulate and try to control the situation right in a moment, even though I know it seems so easy and so familiar for us to do so. But we can't do that, because when we do that, we miss our opportunity and we lose the game. So if you want to listen to more of that podcast last night of Your Rejection, My Protection, from Reading Between the Wines, author Agnes K, all the way from the UK, please go ahead and check out that replay from yesterday. Now, we have Enjoli Soul Scents coming in, and of course, I'm speaking about Unsolicited Counsel. So I can't wait to see exactly what she thinks about people who come through and they want to give you some unsolicited advice. They want to be your unsolicited counselor. It really used to drive me in a different direction. Used to drive me in a different direction, and I just wasn't having it most of the time. But now I think about it a little bit differently, and I can actually listen and I can actually take in. And my grandmother used to always say this, and I know some of the old folks out there, the same people that got something to say about your life, they be the same people that don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. So when I started to think about that and think about the people that thought that they knew what they were talking about, and, I should do this, I should do that, I looked at my circumstances. I looked at where I was standing at versus them. And that's why I always say, check the facts. Look at your circumstances. Look what you got going on versus them. If you got more to lose than they do, then don't listen to what they got to say. If they doing better off than you, then maybe you might want to sit down and pipe down and zip it a little bit and listen and get small little pieces here and there to see what you can go ahead and take and move on and elevate. But not all advice is great advice. The burning question from last night. Let's say that it's been 2 years since you have given birth, 2 years since you have fathered a child, whatever the case may be. And you come to find out that the children were switched at birth and it was incorrect. You realize, damn, my 2-year-old child that I have been taking care of, nurturing, caring for is not mine. So once you know this information and it becomes available to you, would you want to switch back? And for me, I think it was a real tough burning question, because after you have nurtured and cared for a child for 2 years, that's basically your child, regardless of whether you've birthed them, it's your biological child or not. That's really your child. So I just think about the trauma, the upset, the the disruption that would cause if you said, "Oh no, I want my real baby back." So that was the burning question last night. What would you do if you find out that after giving birth 2 years later that you are taking care of a child that is not yours? There was some issue, there was some mix up, there was a switch at birth, and yeah, what are you gonna do? And shout out to people who have responded on Facebook on to the burning questions. I've received some text messages. The past couple days, these burning questions have been very interesting enough that it triggered some offline conversation afterwards. So we got some great burning questions coming up in the future. Um, I just listen, they just coming. I don't know what to say about it, but it's been getting real spicy up in here. We've been heating some things up with these burning questions. So thank you so much to everybody. Shout out to Lavella all the way from California, representing Brooklyn, New York. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And we had some great people come through. Some new people are popping up and showing up from different platforms. If this is your first time, please go ahead and drop it in the comments and let me know where you are calling from, where you are representing. This is the 411 podcast, and let's go ahead and get Miss Enjoli Soul Scents in the building here. Arthur Birdman says my mother used to use that phrase all the time. Absolutely. My grandmother used it all the time, especially when you think that you're going to run back and start to cry and complain about what somebody is going to say or do to you. Same people that got something to say don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out, so don't even worry about it.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. Peace and love to you. I hope all is well.
Yes, I made it. I dashed, I tucked, I rolled, I did whatever I had to do to make it out here tonight, and I'm so thankful that I'm here, and thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. I always love every time we get together. It's always an exciting night, a very profound and knowledgeable night. So, I'm always down to educate, liberate.
Absolutely. And so people can evolve, and then once you evolve, then you elevate to the next level, but you have to evolve first before you can elevate to the next level.
Absolutely. And that's what life is about. If you're not growing, then you're not really experiencing life to the fullest.
Absolutely. So please let everybody know where you are calling from tonight.
All right. So I am currently calling from New York City. I recently moved from Jersey back to New York. So that is where I'm at right now.
Okay. Shout out to New York. We love New York. Last night I was saying we going to Newark, New Jersey, but you're in New York. That's what's up.
Yes. Back in my hometown.
Now, how you like the traffic in your hometown? Because I know it's interesting.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like I've been telling my family, I don't miss New York at all. I'm, doing my ones and my twos so I can save and really move to the countryside.
Okay.
Where I got like probably one or two neighbors because it's too many people.
Now, when you say countryside, you coming back to Jersey or you going somewhere else, different state?
The plan is to go further down. Further down, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Countryside of Texas, stuff like that.
That's what's up. I've never been to Texas. That's a place that I would love to visit in the future.
You will love it. I was recently in Houston in July for a convention, and it was amazing. Like, the food is great.
I was just about to say. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, you are a vegetarian, huh?
Right. So
okay.
It was like hit or miss finding vegan spots, but we did find this beautiful black-owned spot in Houston called Mo Better Brews.
Ooh.
And it was delicious. Like, oh my God, they had a peach cobbler waffle. They had fried oyster chicken strips. Ooh, baby, they had Louisiana Papa leg box potatoes. Let me tell you, like, I bigged that place up so much. I went live that day. I really shout out the chef. It was real good food.
I know what you're talking about because I had experienced a black-owned vegan restaurant They were sampling at a wine fest, and they made some vegan gumbo. And when I tell you, I got back in line at least 2 or 3 times, but it was really good.
I'm telling you, it'd be worth it. And then it's so light on the body that you can eat without feeling sluggish.
And I tell people that because I had someone last week ask me, is it different now that you don't eat meat? And that's one of my biggest responses is absolutely. Because after I get done eating, first of all, I love to eat, so I eat a lot. I'm just keeping it real. And I love to eat. Like as soon as we get off of here, I'm running out and I'm dashing out and I'm getting something to eat too. It is what it is. Late night eating, that's what I do sometimes. But I don't feel sluggish afterwards, like you just said.
Right.
And tired.
Because the meat is heavy. Yeah. And it takes your body, depending on the type of meat you're eating, it takes 2 to 3 months to process beef and pork.
Can you please repeat that again? I don't mean to cut you off, but please repeat that again because that's some crazy mess. Say it again.
So, depending on the type of meat that you're eating, it takes your body actually 3 to 6 months to process it. So, beef and pork is the worst meat. On top of chicken too, but chicken processes a little bit faster in the body. But beef and pork takes about 3 to 6 months, especially for females. That's why we start having a lot of wound problems, cysts, fibroids, which is also connected to mucus-based found in the meat and the hormones. So when women come to me with fertility issues and sciatica nerve problems, I say, what's your diet? That's the first thing I say. What's your diet like? What are you eating? And 9 times out of 10, they're telling me dairy, they're telling me pork, they're telling me beef, and they're eating this 3 to 4 times a week. And I'm asking them, well, how many times a day do you use the bathroom? Oh, I only go once a day. Well, that's not good. You're supposed to move about every time you consume something. And as a vegetarian, you'll know that. Or even, an early vegan, you'll know that because as soon as you eat something, because of the fresh, raw ingredients of it, you're going to the bathroom.
Wow, we're gonna upset people tonight that eat meat. I'm sorry, we are.
And I tell people, I said, everything is not for everybody, but humans, especially melanated beings, we were not created to eat meat. Look at our teeth. We don't have carnivore teeth. We have herbivore teeth, plants, fruits. But yeah, each his own. I tell people it's a healthy balance. If you're gonna eat 6 months out of the year effed up, then make sure you're doing 2 colon cleanses a year. Make sure you're doing a colonic once a year. Make sure it's things to balance that up.
Listen, when I went on vacation, just a couple weeks ago, I detoxed like you would not believe. And it was just craziness.
It's needed. It makes you feel better.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into what happens when you detox, but I'm sure y'all can figure out what happens. But yeah, I was like, okay.
Well, I actually have a 1-day aggressive full body detox on my website, and this is the Jamaican Dove Flower. It's also found in Honduras. It's under Dr. Sebi's top recommendation for a 1-day full body detox. So I have a wholesaler in Jamaica, and I sell it on my website now. And all my clients have given me wonderful reviews. I had a few clients make YouTube videos of their detoxing process, which is very detailed. But it basically pulls mucus from all your large organs. It boosts your immune system. It opens up your 5 senses. So especially people that are dealing with like sleep apnea, sinus infections on a regular, it definitely pulls the mucus from the brain and the sinuses. And then it also starts and jumpstarts your body into veganism or vegetarianism. Because it purifies the body. It resets the body so much that your body doesn't crave anything but natural things. And if you decided to take the detox and then you try to eat some chicken, you're going to get sick.
Oof.
Because your body is craving greens, fruits, vegetables to alkaline the system back.
Absolutely.
So it's a great full body day detox, and I sell them on my website for $50 for one duck flower. You rehydrate it, you eat it, or you blend it up. Mm-hmm. Me, I ate mine. I chewed it right on up because
okay.
I'm like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I have a lot of clients that blend it with about 1 ounce of water and then drink it like that. The detox activates in the body within an hour or two, and you purge for 4 to 8 hours.
So you go into the bathroom for 4 to 8 hours, so you need to stick close to home.
You stay close to home. It's from bowel movements to vomiting.
Oh, no.
Or both, or three. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be vomiting. That part, I can't deal with that. That's the worst part ever.
Everyone's different. Mine, I only use the bathroom like I only peed. Let's be honest. I only peed and I only threw up. I had clients that had, we're grown here, that had diarrhea and vomiting. So it depends on your body and the toxicity level in your body. Mm-hmm. But everyone's different. But it's a great purge. It's a great way to start the new year off fresh and right.
Absolutely. And they can get that at EnjoliSoulScents.com.
Absolutely. And I ship right away.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to go and check out your website. We were talking offline a little bit, so, I have to look at a couple other different things that you have on there. But I like the natural stuff that you're selling, and you're speaking about things that I've learned about that make sense to me, such as we were talking about veganism and eating meat. And I think I heard along the lines that another reason why we're not supposed to be eating meat is because what happens if you take meat and you leave it out, it rots, right? And it starts to break down.
It's rotten as soon as it's killed and cut. That part. As soon as you kill the animal, and think about it. I'm Native American and African. So I have a lot of Cherokee dominantly in my blood. There was a whole ritual to killing animals to where it wasn't barbaric and chaotic. But now you have slaughterhouses all around the United States. They're overpacked. They're not giving respect to the animals. Animals are filled with anxiety, fear, cancer, and they're getting killed in the most inhumane way. So all of that stays in the blood and in the meat. And then you consume it and you wonder why you're so angry.
I was just going to say that. So however, what that animal was feeling during that process, it stays there. So you consume it and then you pick up whatever, that animal's feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm an animal lover. I do Reiki on animals. I do Reiki on my pets. Over the summer, I did Reiki on my first 2 horses, which was phenomenal. That was my biggest animal that I've done energy healing on, which is a Japanese healing practice, which is a holistic, non-adhesive energy healing technique that promotes balance, relaxation, and overall well-being. And a lot of times these animals, horses, let me just get to that. A lot of horses that are in New Jersey State, they come from retired racetrack horses. So these horses were abused, overworked, have a lot of social anxiety, fear, and trauma. You don't know what they've seen, and a lot of times these horses are fixed in the most inhumane way so that they can run longer and they don't reproduce. So I had a pleasure of working with 3 horses, and it was phenomenal. Well, it was just phenomenal.
I want to say congratulations for having the courage to work with those large animals, because I know I wouldn't want any parts of it. They are just way too big. And I've seen some stories, and I was actually listening to Nicki Minaj's new album today, and she said a line in there, something about I don't mess with horses after basically I don't mess with horses after what happened to Christopher Reeve. So yeah,
I'm done.
I don't mess with that. When she said that line, I was just like, yo, she is something else.
I tell people like this, horses are such energetic beings. They pick up on energy. So if you're not right with self, don't approach a horse. And a lot of times people think that they can just walk up to this beautiful, majestic animal and put their hands on it. Yeah. I talk to these beings. I say, I'd be like, I introduce myself. I tell them my name. I ask permission to touch. You'll see a whole different reaction. Some will give the permission, some won't. But I'm not just going to go up to an animal that can trample me and thinking I can just do what I want to do.
Wait, I know I ain't messing with them. But I get what you're saying. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Shout out to Onyx Blade. Thank you so much for joining. And we have Bethany from California. Thank you so much for joining. Not sure if you're still out there, but so now I know we just went in a whole different direction as far as what we were going to talk about, but that's fine. I want to stick with this. It's a good reason why we are talking about this. The holiday seasons are here. People are going to start to be getting gathered up and eating and doing all of that stuff. So maybe people listening to this might want to take a little shift and take a change before they think about, indulging in their next holiday meal. So,
right, absolutely.
Do you have?
I mean, well, like I tell people all the time, if you already bought the turkey and the ham and the ribs, do your thing. Tomorrow's always another day for you to consciously prep yourself and look in a different direction. And a lot of times people are set on one way of living is because they don't know another way.
Absolutely.
So you can't penalize or be cruel to an unknown brain. So that's what I think.
Now, how about this here? I know with you doing your spiritual side, you being a Reiki master,
a medium.
Let them know what else you do. Go ahead. I got this question for you.
It's okay. So I am a Native American herbalist.
Okay.
I'm also a Reiki master practitioner level 2. I'm also a medium. And that's about an energy healer, but that's all combined in a mediumship and a Reiki. But that's what I do.
So the medium, and I'll make sure I got that right. That's basically connecting to the other side.
So yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I have dominant Cherokee in my blood, and my grandmother's grandmother had these abilities to sense and hear and feel spirits' messages. Mm-hmm. I often do oracle readings for people on my website, and I'm able, their ancestors come to me and give me messages, give me insights on those particular entities. I've gotten possessed one time last year, and it wasn't the best feeling, but I'm glad that I was strong enough to not get fully possessed and still communicate with the spirit to let them know that you're not just going to jump into my body without my permission, and you're not just going to do what you want to do. And I'm glad I'm strong enough, because a lot of people who are new to mediumship don't really know how to navigate the spirit realm, especially when multiple spirits are knocking at your door at once. So, I know how to put up a block so that they're not constantly trampling me with messages and thoughts and touches. But when I do open up my portal so I can get divine insight, that's usually what happens.
Wow. I was not expecting that, but thank you for sharing that. Wow, that's a lot. Jeez. Now, we were...
Absolutely. And possession is not like you see in The Exorcist. There's many different forms of possession, just to clear that up.
Okay. Because that movie definitely had me not wanting to sleep on my bed or on the floor. I didn't know what I was doing when I was younger, because I didn't want to sleep on the bed because, of course, the movie. And then I didn't want to sleep on the floor because I didn't know what the hell was underneath the bed. So I was just like, what we doing? We walking around? But... it resulted in me sleeping on the couch for a very long time, honestly.
I totally get that. Movies always like to demonize things, especially when it comes to African American, indigenous spirituality. And it's not always that. It's always two sides to everything. And I feel like Hollywood romanticizes demonic spirituality over helpful
No, of
and
course. Yeah, of course.
peaceful
And
spirituality.
yeah, anything that's negative and evil, and in the opposite direction, of course, they're going to try to, you know, shine. But you can't have one without the other. So that's why you're here
Absolutely.
doing what you're doing, and so many other people with positive influences out there. Um,
And I tell people all the time, anybody can be a medium if you attune yourself to energies and entities beyond you. You know, a lot of people can't get past the 3D reality that we live in. I'm already 90, so it's like I see and I hear things beyond people's grasp. That's what makes me in between. So it's more of a comfort in the unknown. A lot of people are not comfortable in the unknown because they can't control it. But that's peaceful to me in certain aspects. So mediumship came easy, just like Reiki comes easy.
I think you will start to hear things, and you'll start to see things that other people can't hear and see.
It happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get around somebody and read them. Is that something that I always do? No, because I feel like that's rude, especially if you don't give me permission. But I walk past people and I feel things and see things. But that's not my business to stop everybody. Hey, I have a message for you. No, that's
Right.
cliche.
Right.
I don't really,
Right.
I don't do that.
I get it. I get it. Now, speaking of which, since we transitioned into this conversation, I was going to talk about the food aspect, but it still can tie into this here, especially when you
Absolutely.
are consuming food. Because I remember Queen Dawn Spirit used to speak about this. Be very careful about who prepares your food, because if they have negative energy, negative vibes going on, and you consume it, you'll start to pick up some of their energy and start to conduct yourself in such a manner. So that's one aspect of it. Talk to me about interacting with people who are vibrating on a lower vibrational level and touching things, touching people, letting people touch you. Um, I'm not a fan of people coming up and always wanting to shake hands and do weird stuff like that. But every now and then, especially with people doing a fist bumping and everything, I'm like, ugh, here we go. All right. But then I feel that sometimes I'll be picking up some vibes off of them and that I may not appreciate.
Absolutely. Me, I'm not a big hugger or a toucher. And that's what I tell people at pop-up shops. So if I hug you and I really don't know you, it's because I already read your spirit. But all in all, I don't like people touching me. I don't randomly touch people. I really like boundaries and personal space. I'm really big on that. So because I pick up stuff, so I don't really like to always know your business, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I don't want you knowing my business. So I'm very cautious on who I touch. I've had the same hairstylist for 6 years. She's the only one that goes in my head outside of myself. And I definitely believe in the preparing of the food, but it's all about prayer and intention. So if you pray over your food and you set your intentions over your food before you eat it, no evil formed against you should prosper, in my opinion.
Okay.
So it's all about the foundation within self and how you go about your day to day. But as far as the touchy feely, I've never been that type of gal.
People look at me like I'm crazy when I be like, you should not just be around touching things and touching everybody. And I have a couple close people to me that I care about. I'd be like, listen, you shouldn't be. And then they be coming back to me, and I'd be like, where you been? Because don't come over here.
I'm going to tell you a funny story. Well, depending if you laugh or not. I was in New Orleans, and I went to a voodoo shop in New Orleans about 4 years ago. Now, before I flew out, my sister said, do not touch anything with your right hand because your right hand receives and your left hand pushes out. I was drinking in New Orleans, having a good time. I go into this voodoo shop and I see this statue. Instantly, I was hypnotized by this statue. My right hand is my dominant hand. I go to touch this statue. I get first of all, my hand got stuck on it for a little bit. I get this hot chill up my right hand all the way to my forearm, and then I felt something crawl on my neck.
No, absolutely
I instantly was looking for my homegirl at the time that I flew down there with. I see her running up the aisle. She's like, "Let's go." The way she pulled my left arm was the only way I would have got off that statue. We had the heebie-jeebies for about 6 blocks. We had to walk 6 blocks away from that voodoo shop in New Orleans to get the vibe off of us. And she's like, "Oh my God, we forgot what your sister said." I said, "Girl, I touched the thing with my right hand. What I'm doing?"
I was just about to say, yeah. Number one, what did your sister say and you didn't listen? And number 2,
right.
I wouldn't have been nowhere near because I don't like statues. So was this a statue of a human?
It was a statue head of Shiva, which is an Indian god.
I know what you're talking about. Absolutely not. I would have been nowhere near. I don't like statues. I don't like statues of humans, animals, anything that is a significant height. I've watched too many movies in the past as a child, so when I walk past a statue or walk past a portrait that looks a little crazy, I'm getting up out of there because I don't want it to start moving. And this is just, me thinking of this kind of stuff. But I was in a shop I was in a shop one time, and they had a statue like crouched up over the door, behind the door where you couldn't see it because it was like hanging over the door. So I had already walked into the room. I'm sitting in there for a good minute looking at stuff. But as soon as I turned around to go back out and I saw that statue, I was like almost like pressed up against the wall and like inching to hurry up and get out. Nah, I'm good. You're better than I am.
So yeah, a lot of statues and animal statues hold certain deities and entities, especially if they're older. So in that particular voodoo shop, that statue was about 300 years old, from what the woman was telling us. So who knows what it was used for? You know. And I was drawn to it. I was captivated. I couldn't. It was crazy. But I that was the story I wanted to tell you about touching stuff. So I don't really touch stuff no more.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't like. Onyx Blade says, "I hate touching people and I only do it out of necessity." I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touch yourself and your loved ones. That's it.
So now, I appreciate you for coming through. We're going to get into all of your credentials really soon. I want to rewind a little bit, as tonight I was speaking about unsolicited counsel. So with you being a spiritual healer that you are, what advice do you have, or what comments do you have about people who just show up and think that, they can turn around and give somebody some unsolicited advice and mark themselves as an unsolicited counselor?
Well, I feel like everybody has spiritual discernment. Some harness it a little bit longer than others. Some listen to their inner voice a little bit more than others. But we all have that intuition in ourselves where we can be like, you know what? Something about this sounds a little off. This doesn't really resonate with me. I'm the type of person, I'll let you talk depending on what you're talking about. Because if you start to irritate my ear vessels, then I'm going to have to shut you down because you're wasting my energy. But
I feel you.
No, this is true.
No, I hear you.
It's so true. People say, some people say I'm mean, but I'm very straightforward. So if you take that as being mean because I don't take no shit, then be it as it may. But even talking to me takes energy for me to listen. So if you're coming to me with nonsense or something that doesn't resonate with my mind, body, and soul, then you're taking from me. Why would I let you just aimlessly take something from me? Take energy from me. That's the most priceless thing we got.
Oof, you better say that.
So I I don't know. If it resonates, I'll hear you out. If it doesn't have anything to do with me, I can go about it one or two ways. I can be like, you know what? I appreciate what you're trying to do, but this means nothing to me. So it means nothing to me.
But I bet,
and I've said that to people, and they've gotten offended. Like, what do you mean it means nothing to you? I said, I don't care about what you're saying. It means nothing to me. Like, it gives me no points, and you're giving me a headache. You're hurting my ear valve.
Well, I bet I bet after telling somebody that this means nothing to me, I bet they won't turn around and do it again. I mean, they might be bold, but at least you know where they're coming from now. But wow.
Well, some people are stubborn, and they're gonna get their point out whether you listen or not. But I know how to walk away, and I know how to tune people out. I can't say that for the rest of the world because of the way social media is. Everybody's always tuned in, as they say. But I can tune out very easily because I know how sacred my energy is, and I know how good my intuition is. I'm not saying I know everything, but I have a real good gut feeling when something is for me, when something is right and exact, and when you're really wasting my time because you want to hear yourself speak. So I've been like that since I was a kid. Like, my mom used to be like, "You're so rude." No, I'm very direct. That's what my dad would say. Like, she's just very direct. And she knows what she wants and she knows what she don't want.
And at least you don't have to deal with it anymore once you tell people once, they should pretty much get it. But that's having boundaries. So that's having standards, which a lot of times people will trample and run all over top and think they can come in and run amok and do whatever they want to do in your world when you don't have boundaries and you don't have standards and you haven't let people know exactly from the gate. So I get it. I used to be that type of person, but not today. I'm not. I'll tell you that.
We all have that phase. We all have that phase of trying to be a people pleaser. And not until you do shadow work and inner healing, you understand the only people that really matter is you. If you're not comfortable or happy about something, who else matters?
Everything starts with self, and that's the biggest thing.
Right.
I think if we just listen to that, everything starts with self. Shout out to my mentor from the Bronx. She taught me that everything starts with self, and I didn't understand it. She was, breaking it down to me for over a year before I actually clicked and got it. But everything starts with self.
It really does. And my circle is very small by choice, because I'm sure there's so many people that want to be in my circle, but if we don't align, if you don't benefit me, and not saying I'm a user, but if you don't benefit my cause and my purpose, then you're taken from me.
Absolutely.
Because I can benefit a lot of people more than they can benefit me. Not being cocky, I just know who I am. But
ain't nothing wrong with that.
You gotta be like, no, it's nothing wrong with that. And it gives you more space to be yourself, and it gives you more space for the right people to come into your path.
You better say that. Lettucey has a song called Add to Me. So for those of you who don't know and never heard that before, I strongly recommend you listening to that, because she knows who she is at this point, because she has gone through whatever she's gone through. And I like how you said that, my circle is small by choice. Like, for example, for me, I am single by choice, because finally at this moment today in my life, I know who I am. So unless you are going to add to me, unless you're going to add value, unless you're going to be an asset, anything else is a liability. And I've been dealing with liabilities all of my life, thinking that I had something that was going to turn into something great, and clearly it didn't. So we need assets today. We are accumulating assets, and I don't want any liabilities in my life. So I need to know how you're going to add to this situation, because we are already great. Each and every one of us are already great once we know who we are. So it's not about, we're not great. Who are we made like, in an image of? So I know that I'm great. I know who I am today. So if anything, I need to know what you're going to add to this greatness here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's how empires are built.
That's where I'm coming from today. I have evolved into this whole situation that y'all see here today, because trust and believe, we're not even going to get into it.
It's not easy. It's not easy putting boundaries up and seeing people fall off like leaves in the wind. But if that don't show you that they wasn't really down for you, then I don't know what else is.
That was real deep and real dope how you said that. Once you start putting up boundaries, people will start doing what now?
Falling off like leaves in the wind.
Because that's exactly what happened. And then I used to be like, oh my God, so it just gets smaller. And the stuff that you have to be responsible for gets smaller, and then the people that you have to be responsible for gets smaller. And when you knew nothing but craziness and nonsense and chasing and running yourself thin, you might start to think that it's a problem that your responsibilities are getting smaller. The stuff that you have to be accountable for gets smaller. The places that you have to end up attending to get smaller. And you get it a little twisted a little bit and we start to feel a certain way. But that's a level of... Say it again.
I say that's a level of peace.
Absolutely. That's
that. Nothing like it.
That's that protection. That's that protection when stuff starts to shrink and get a certain way. Like I say, less is more for me today. So in the beginning, I was feeling a certain way, but after a while, I'm like, you know what? This is pretty dope. I like this situation. Thank you so much for protecting me. Thank you so much for clearing up all of that stuff and getting all this nonsense and these people away from me, because this is exactly what I needed. And then when you start to peel back and look, you be like, okay, I see where this went wrong. I see how this went wrong. And if I had stayed on this path, I would have probably been here, but who knows this and who knows that. You can almost start to look at your life and see things a little bit differently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always protection. It is. It definitely is.
That's one of my favorite sayings. Your rejection is my protection. Like I said, I had to say it today because somebody came to me. Well, sometimes we got to be careful with the ego getting in the way, thinking that somebody did something to you, but they just were a little off. And I had to tell myself, before you start to put your emotions in, before you start to do a little bit too much, your rejection is my protection. The reason why this person is acting this way is because right now you don't need to be engaging in that moment. And once I did, have that inner conversation with myself, that person came back around hours later and everything was cool. But had I started to get into my feelings and get a certain way when it happened in that moment, then I would have been breaking that level of protection. I needed to sit back. I needed to mind my business for that moment. I needed to focus. I needed to get back to center and stop worrying about what was going on in outside sources that had nothing to do with me. So.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
We have Enjoli in. Her business is Enjoli Soul Scents. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining. You can go ahead and visit her at enjolisoulscents.com. That's ENJOLI Soul Scents, and soul is SOUL scents.com. Now, before I get out of here, we're getting ready to go into something which I love, which is called Burning Questions. I'm going to go ahead and flip things and change things a little bit, change it up a little bit. If anybody has any feedback, any questions about tonight's show, you can always text me at 609-738-0611. That is the official 411 podcast hotline. That number is 609-738-0611. And the burning question that I have for you tonight is, brace yourself, people. If you knew that it would completely estrange you from your friends and your family, would you follow your heart and marry the person you loved? Sounds like deja vu.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry. I can answer that.
I was trying to be funny, which I probably shouldn't have, but I'll go ahead and read it again. I said it sounds like deja vu. If you knew that it would completely estrange you from your friends and your family, would you follow your heart and marry the person you loved? And you said absolutely.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna break that down to you.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, your friends and your family can go but so far in life with you. They're not gonna hold you at night. They're not gonna take care of you when you're sick. They're not gonna give you children. They're not gonna add to your legacy in a way that you will. Sometimes friends and family, just sometimes, not all the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they can be that stick in the mud for you because they see your greatness and then they don't want to share you which is common in some families. They got, the black sheep. Oh no, you need to stay here close to us. You don't need to be moving around half around the world. You don't need to be doing that. You don't need to. That's because of their self-fears and their self-doubt. But then themselves not feeling like they can get that or if they deserve that. So if I found somebody that I loved and my family didn't 100% agree, I will weigh out the pros and the cons. Is my lover this, and this? Would he do this, and this for me? If I did leave my friends and my family, would it be 100% alone? Because sometimes friends and family can be that devil on your back. They're not always a blessing. So I would say I would get up and go. I would elope. I wouldn't even tell y'all. I would come around and I'll have my ring and yada yada. But I always tell people, like, people always gonna have an opinion because it's free. You know, if something feels right to you, if you're happy, if this person's not beating on you, causing you any harm, if they're elevating you, pouring into you, loving on you, that's all pros. Why not do what your heart set out to do anyway? Because at any given time, your friends, you can lose those friends. Your family can move away and not do a thing. But your partner, that's your partner in life. That's your partner in love. That's your partner in war. And everybody's supposed to branch off and make their own family. Who's to say, who are they to tell you can't start your own legacy and family? That's selfish. That's my opinion.
I feel you on that. You got to be very careful. Like I said, unsolicited counsel. You got to be very careful and check the facts and check the sources because it could be family, it could be friends, and what you look like. So you single? You don't got nobody. So like I said, always check the facts.
Your friends could be in love with your man.
Or in love.
And trying to break you up so they could take him away from you or something like that. Unfortunately, I do deal with gossip here and there. It's crazy out here nowadays.
Or they could
These girls ain't loyal to their homegirls. It's no real sisterhood in the younger generation. Like, I'd be like, oh my God.
I was just having that conversation about how everybody has side pieces, but I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a good reason why I'm, like I said, single by choice these days, because I still need to continue to get with center. But anyway, I need to get back to center before I even think about. But anyway,
I don't have time. I'm happy that I have my partner, my life partner. He came to me in a dream before I met him 2 years ago, and we've been together ever since. And Spirit showed me him in a dream, and then I met him in person. So I ain't looking for nobody. He ain't looking for nobody. And if we ever did decide to split, which would be never, and he hear me, it would be respectful because we've given each other nothing but respect.
Absolutely. I've had some people pop up in dreams, and then it was so weird that I just woke up and I don't even remember what they look like. So if I saw them in the street, I wouldn't even know because I wasn't expecting that to happen. And I jump out of my dream. Like, oh my God, what was that? But anyway, but here's my response to this here. And this is going to be a little take in a different aspect. I already broke it down about the friends and the family, checking the sources and stuff like that. But here's where I went wrong in my personal life experiences is when I did follow my heart. So you got to be very careful with following your heart because I've learned that your heart will get you into some bad situations. That heart is very wicked. That heart wants those things that probably are no good for you. So I've learned to be very careful, and people always say, trust your heart. Hell no, because that heart does some weird things and get you all wrapped up and start beating a little fast and beating a little crazy for a person that is crazy and that is no good for you. So your mind is what you need to be trusting, and go with your mind and go with that intuition. Stay away from that heart because that heart is going to get you all jacked up. So for me, if I had to answer this question, about estranged family and friends, that ain't even the biggest part that I got to deal with. the hell with the family and friends at the moment, because like you said, they can turn around and do the 180 on you left and right, and at the end of the day, they have already lived their life. They have already had their family established. They already have their situation established for the most part, especially our family. Friends, whatever, they come and go. It is what it is. But family, whether you're talking about a mother or grandmother, they are already established, and they ain't going to be, around for the long haul, at the end of the day. So they're going to transition and move on too. So they most certainly should not be dictating what you should be doing. But following that heart, once you meet somebody, love at first sight, and your heart just start beating and off course, put it that way. You get love struck, you get love blind, but for somebody, and your heart will have you doing some ridiculous, crazy, jacked up things. Nah, bro, not today. I'm not trusting my heart. If anything, I'm getting back to center, and I'm making sure, and I'm getting my mind together and making sure and questioning and asking, is this the right decision that I should be making? That's what I have to say.
I mean, everybody has their own field. I say it takes all elements, mind, body, soul, and spirit, to confirm sometimes. And if you haven't healed yourself properly, then you are still going to be attracted or drawn to toxicity in some form of way, because we only really attract other shadow aspects of ourselves.
Absolutely.
So when people be like, oh, he ain't this, but what are you? Because at one time you was head over heels for this person. And I had my share of toxicity, roller coaster, arguing, fighting. I was young, so
yeah.
But I also, when I started healing and going on my shadow journey, I realized these was aspects of myself not healed, and I was manifesting them in another.
Exactly.
So I was just attracted to the parts of me that needed extra love and extra guidance in the opposite sex, which had his own traumas and his own. So once I was healed, I looked at love and relationships completely different. I went about them differently. Yep. So it's really about your journey and where you at in your self healing as well.
Well said. Well said. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Burning Questions, and that is Miss Enjoli from Enjoli Soul Scents. I want to say thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you. And if you can go ahead and please let everybody know where they can go ahead and follow you at, like you said in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, first I want to say thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure and a ball to do these podcasts with you. I swear your burning questions always puts me on the edge of my seat, but I got it. You guys can definitely follow me at Enjoli Soul Scents LLC. That's my IG. And from my IG, you can hit my LinkedIn tree on my bio, and that will take you to my website, my podcast, and my YouTube channel. Everything you need to know about me is there. So that again is at Enjoli Soul Scents LLC, and you'll see my beautiful purple girl sitting in lotus position with her afro. That's me. Yes. We are officially trademarked, baby.
Absolutely.
Trademark in all 50 states. That logo and that name belongs to me and me alone. I'm happy and proud about that.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for coming on. I know it's been a year since we got together, but this has been well worth it. And again, thank you so much. And I'll be in touch soon. So, maybe we get some collaborations and have you. Oh, yeah, we definitely have you come back on Reading Between the Wines. We spoke about that. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. I would love to drop a little knowledge about my affirmations book for kings and queens, the science and the spiritual aspect of positive self-talk.
Oh, yeah, we definitely going to have her come back for Reading Between the Wines. So, yes, I'll definitely will be in touch.
Okay, perfect. I can't wait.
Okay. All right, well, take care. And also, I don't know if you celebrate it, but Merry Christmas and enjoy your holiday.
Happy holidays to you and everyone as well. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was Enjoli. And I'm going to have to just get a little personal, but I'm ready to eat. We've been talking about food and stuff, but after I am done, I'm most certainly going to eat. So before I forget, I definitely want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas to each and every one of y'all out there. It's here, Christmas Eve is tomorrow. So as far as I'm concerned, it's here. Have lots of great time spent with family and friends. That's what it's about. I know the hype and the gifts and all of that stuff. It's funny how I evolved into who I am today because I used to be so backwards. It was all about the gifts. It was all about what I was buying this person and that person and what they was getting me. But as I have evolved into, the being that I am here today, listen, the hell with all of that extra stuff. Even when it comes to the Christmas trees and the hypes and all of the extra stuff that people do, that's not what it's about for me in my world. But anyway, people do what they do, what works for them. But I'm just saying, it's about those connections. It's about spending time with family, and some of those things are priceless, and we'll never be able to get those back. What's going on out there on D Live? I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna just call you JK. What's going on, JK? You said what? I'm not quite sure what you were saying what to, but we're getting ready to get on up out of here. I know that much, but thank you for joining in. And again, for those of you, of course, we're taking off for Christmas Eve and taking off for Christmas Day, but we will be back on the 26th. And of course, that's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Going strong with the 4-1 podcast and Reading Between the Wines. And I will be podcasting live until 12:30. So 12:30 is going to be the finale of Disc 3 Evolution. So in the meantime, again, I'm back on the 26th. You can go ahead and hang out with me every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all the way up until the 30th. Now, if you enjoyed the conversation that we had going on tonight, you most certainly can continue this conversation with me. We can have a private one-on-one coaching conversation. Head on over to LarenGaines.com and sign up for the coaching sessions, and we can go ahead and continue a one-on-one conversation offline, no cameras, nothing being recorded, just me and you, basically whatever topics that you like to go over. Now, also, if you are a traveler, if you are an adventurer, such as I am, you can text me at 609-738-0611, and I can help you when it comes to setting up a travel itinerary. I can help you when it comes up to your lodging. For me personally, I like to vacation and have a home away from home. I like to live in the condominium lifestyle, such as balconies, uh, multiple bathrooms, dining rooms, full kitchens. If you like to basically have a condominium lifestyle when it comes to vacation and a home away from home, text me 609-738-0611. Let me know exactly where you would like to go ahead and travel, and then I will see what we have available. If you like to go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about when it comes to a condominium, head on over to my social media pages. I recently posted exactly, what most of the units will look like. And the unit that I have posted on my social media pages is from Williamsburg, Virginia. When I was in Orlando, Celebration, Florida, the units basically look similar. So head on over to my social media pages and you can go ahead and take a look at that. And again, let's just start the conversation before we even get into that. Text me at 609-738-0611 and I will let you know if we have something available. I talk to you about coaching sessions. I talk to you about vacation with me. We're here on a 4-1 podcast. I have a show, Reading Between the Wines. I have a lot of different things going on. So if you like to stay up to date on everything that I have going on, you can head on over to LarenGaines.com and sign up for my new newsletter that's coming out next month, which is called Whispers of Wisdom. It's going to give you all of those things that I just spoke about, bits and pieces here and there, wisdom, inspirational quotes. I have a bottle of the month that I'm going to be showcasing wine as well. So again, everything Laren Gaines, you'll get behind the scenes. You'll know when future podcasts are coming up, future guests coming up in the future, all of the great stuff. So for you to sign up for that, it's free, costs you nothing. And you can head on over to LarenGaines.com and sign up for the Whispers of Wisdom newsletter. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This is a show. It's a wrap. Thank you to my special guest, Enjoli, for coming through. Great experience, great conversation. And on that note, it's time for us to get on up out of here. Thank you so much for joining. And I will see y'all on the 26th. 26th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's Tuesday. So I'll see y'all then. Enjoy your holiday. Good evening, Birdman. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Cousin, for joining. Blade. We had so many. We had Bethany show up. I had someone on B Live show up. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see y'all when I see you. Take care. Have a good night.